Hi, I'm Susan Rutledge, and in this video, I'm going to show you how sometimes making a mistake in Adobe Illustrator can bring you some great surprises. And that's exactly what happened to me when I accidentally came up with the design for this wreath. So let me move to a blank document, and I'm going to show you how I did it. Now what I'm going to do is create a pattern brush first, and I'm going to make it out of the blob brush. The blob brush is located on the left toolbar behind the paintbrush tool. So I'm going to press down here, and in the flyout menu I'll choose the blob brush tool. That keyboard shortcut is Shift B. Now the head is right here in my cursor, and you can see the exact size that it is. If you want to change the size, you can do it in two different ways. You can either use the right square bracket key to enlarge the brush, or the left square bracket key to reduce the size. The other way to be very specific with selecting the size of your brush is when you have the brush selected, press the return key on your keyboard, and that opens up this dialog box where you can type in the exact size that you want. And I'm going to change the size here to 25, leave everything else the same, and say OK. And now you can see the size of the brush head that I'm going to be using. Now to change the color of the blob brush, we change the stroke color in the properties panel. So I'll move over and click on the stroke color icon, and I already have a set of 3 pinks that I'm going to use. I'm going to start with the dark color first, so I'll press here, then click on the artboard to close that out, and I'm going to begin making some blobs, and doesn't have to be matchy, but kind of in this design. Now let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. I'm going to do 15 here, and then lasso over these with the selection tool and group them. Object, group, or Command G. I want to make a copy of these blobs, so I'll hold the Option key down and just drag to make that copy, and I'm going to change the color of the blobs. Since I'm not using the blob tool anymore, I'm now going to change the fill color rather than the stroke. So we'll come over and click on the color fill icon, and I'll choose the middle pink, and then I'm going to hold down the Option key and drag one more time for my next copy and change this color to the light pink. Now it's important that you start with the dark color first. I want to show you why. I'll move to the Layers panel, and I'm going to increase the size of the icons so it's a little easier for you to see. So let's come to Large and say OK. The layer that's selected now is the light pink color, and we see it's at the top of the list. I can tell it's selected because of the blue square here on the right. It was the last thing that I created, so it shows up at the top of the list in the Layers panel. Each time you create a new object, it goes above the previous objects that you've created. Then the middle pink is the next layer down, which means that on the artboard it's going to be a layer underneath the light pink. And let me show you how that works. I'll drag the light pink over on top of this, and it's covering the layer that is below it. And then the same thing is going to be true for the dark layer, which we started first. It is on the 3rd layer, so it's going to be under these other 2 blob layers. And that's how Illustrator works. Now, if you want to know more about layers, I'll leave a link to an entire tutorial about the Layers panel at the end of this video, and I encourage you to watch that. But what we're going to do is move the medium pink on top of the dark pink, and then we'll drag the light pink on top of the other 2 layers. And if it's not covering up as much as you want, you might need to rotate it. I'll hold the Shift key down and hover over the corner and begin just snapping it until I reach 360 degrees and release my mouse. And then I can adjust this layer, and that looks pretty good. And then I'll select all the layers and group them, Object, Group, and move them up and out of the way. This is going to be the design for my pattern brush. So I'm going to come up to Window, down to Brushes, because we're going to need the Brushes panel open. I'm going to grab the tab and drag and drop it next to the Layers tab, and then we'll select the Blob Brush design, come to the bottom of the Brushes panel and click on the New Brush icon. I'm going to click on Pattern Brush, say OK, and I'm going to name this 3 Pinks Brush, and we'll leave everything else the same and say OK. I'm going to put this on a circle, so we'll come over to the left toolbar and hold down the mouse on the rectangle tool for the flyout menu and get the ellipse tool, or I can use keyboard shortcut L. And then I'm going to drag out a circle, and let's move it right up here, and I want to change this to no fill and come back to the Brushes panel, and we're going to click on this pattern brush which we created. Now this is the look I was imagining when I created this design for the pattern brush, but then I ended up selecting it after I'd applied it to my circle and came up to Object and expanded the appearance. I don't even remember why I expanded it, but after I did, I accidentally came back over and clicked once again on that pattern brush. So basically I applied the pattern brush to the pattern brush, and I was so surprised at the result. It wasn't something I was even going for, but I accidentally came up with a really cool design for a wreath. And then, as in the example, I also had a little I love you, because after all, this is pink and it is February as I'm making this video, so we could use this in a design. Now, if you want more of the dark pink to show, all you have to do is make a little adjustment, create a new pattern brush, and the sky's the limit on the colors that you can use. I feel like maybe 3 is the max that I'd want to use to just make it look nice. I tried 4 colors and it seemed a little splotchy to me. But you play with this, play with the size, play with the color, play with the placement of your blobs, and I think you're going to find there are so many different ways you can make some cool designs using this method. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this video and that your creativity has been sparked so that you can begin making some beautiful designs all on your own. I do want to invite you to subscribe to my channel and click the notification bell so you don't miss any of my future tutorials, and I'll look forward to seeing you again next time. Thank you so much for watching. Bye now.